Less panic, more proof, more power. That's the shift we enforce. We are not interested in fighting their ego. We are interested in enforcing policy. We want the quiet courtroom, the boarding gate gone silent, the bank lobby holding its breath. We aim to expose the system, but must protect our own dignity first. That moment, when a racist assumption hits a wall of cold professional competence, that is the turning point. Wanna see why 3 calm steps can cost $1 billion bank far more than they think? It starts with the policy violation landing precisely. Here's the truth. Most abuse relies on your confusion and their perceived authority. They expect you to shout, argue without evidence, or leave in shame. When you deny them that reaction, presenting them with a quiet question citing Chapter 4, Section 2, Paragraph B of their own compliance manual, you flip the script entirely. We've all been there. The cold rejection, the sudden barrier, the manager, Mr. Sterling, who looks right through you while telling you your aspirations, your whole life's work, are too complex for a basic checking account. Let's talk about Elias Vance. Elias walked into one of the largest corporate banking headquarters. He wore sharp, tailored clothes, but also ancestral jewelry. That immediately signaled difference to the vice president waiting for him. Sterling was expecting a CEO managing a foundational infrastructure fund worth nearly $1 billion. When he saw Elias, Sterling decided he was dealing with an ambitious small business owner seeking a predatory loan, or, worse, an elaborate fraud attempt. Sterling's posture shifted. His eye contact ceased. The first warning sign. The meeting was supposed to be a formality, the final check before the bank secured the massive contract. Elias had requested a simple, high-tier corporate account matching the volume of upcoming transactions. Sterling, however, leaned back, laced his fingers, and started patronizing him. "Mr. Vance," he sighed, tapping the mahogany table, "we appreciate your vision, but your projections, they are simply too ambitious for a nascent firm. We have an excellent emerging markets package that would suit your current needs far better. It requires high fees for low limits, but provides good guidance." The insult was clear. You are not who you say you are, and you certainly don't belong here. Elias felt the familiar heat rise, the indignation that demands a loud, angry response. This is the common mistake. We respond to the disrespect of the ego, forgetting that the real power lies in leveraging the disrespect against their business. Arguing about integrity only feeds their superiority. Arguing about compliance policy costs them money. Elias did something else. He centered himself, inhaled slowly, and let the silence stretch. This is where we learn the power of the controlled moment. The best justice tool has no shouting. He didn't address the condescension. He didn't even mention the infrastructure fund. He focused on one specific piece of procedure. "Thank you, Mr. Sterling," Elias said, his voice level, professional, and slightly lower than Sterling's own. "I appreciate the recommendation, but my current request is for the Apex Institutional Account Tier 3. That account, as you know, requires verification of collateral and a documented 5-year cash flow history exceeding $75 million. I provided all of that to your intake manager, Ms. Choi, last week." Sterling waved a dismissive hand. "Forms are often aspirational. Look, our policy, our internal risk policy, suggests we be prudent with first-time clients of your demographic." That was the crucial slip. Sterling named the bias and cited an implied prejudicial policy. Elias had already initiated the 10-minute justice preparand ritual before this meeting, knowing the risk. Let me tell you how that works. You can do this in your car, a quiet office, or even a bathroom stall just minutes before confrontation. 1. Centered breath and posture. Find a spot. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Repeat 5 times. Feel your feet solid. Posture tall. Chin level. This shifts you from reacting to observing. 2. Voice and note. Prep. Decide on your controlled voice. Low, slow, steady. Pull up the key documents on your phone, e.g. anti-discrimination policy number or compliance officer name. Prep your neutral phrase. I would like a supervisor and a copy of the specific policy section you are citing. 3. Witness mode. Activation. Set phone shortcuts. Camera, shot recorder ready, where legal, or quick text to an ally naming the time, place, and the antagonist. Note small details. Sterling's tie color, the timestamp, 10:17 a.m., the room number, Executive Suite 4B. Silence is evidence. Record, report. 4. Affirmation. Remind yourself of your competence and worth. You're not here to beg. You're here to conduct business or enforce ethical conduct. Elias, calm from the prep, now shifted fully into witness mode. He pulled a small, expensive leather notepad. Mr. Sterling, Elias continued, perfectly polite, I understand your concern about risk. However, per the 2021 update to the Federal Deposit Insurance Act, FDIA, regarding institutional accounts, and specifically citing your firm's own internal corporate compliance guideline, 7.4.b, all applicants meeting the documented financial thresholds must be processed without regard to protected characteristics. Furthermore, any denial based on vague internal risk must be delivered in writing, citing verifiable financial justification within 72 hours, signed by 2 executive officers, and attached to the applicant's KYC documentation. Are you prepared to sign that denial now, citing that specific justification? The sentence that stops the room doesn't argue about feelings. It cites the rule. It was a formal, precise challenge, delivered without a single flicker of anger. Sterling froze. The color drained slightly. He realized 2 things instantly. Elias knew the policy too well, and Elias was treating this interaction as a formal legal deposition, not a casual meeting. Sterling's ego had just hit the steel wall of corporate liability. The internal risk policy Sterling tried to weaponize suddenly became a liability trigger. Policy beats ego. Look, Mr. Vance, there's no need to escalate. We can review this, Sterling stammered, his confidence collapsing. He tried to backtrack, but the damage was done. The bias had been named, and the procedural violation requested. I agree, Elias responded smoothly. I do not wish to escalate unnecessarily, but given the clear deviation from published internal guidelines regarding the Apex account application, I must request immediate escalation to the head of institutional compliance or their designated representative. The quiet authority in Elias's request was undeniable. Sterling reached for the internal phone, his hand trembling slightly. Now, let's talk about the big reveal. The moment the status flips, and we see the day the badge flipped. Sterling made the call, whispering nervously into the receiver. He explained the situation poorly. A difficult client citing policy, demanding escalation. He paused, listening to the response. Sterling's eyes widened, tracking from the polished table to Elias's composed face, then quickly to the ancestral jewelry he had dismissed minutes earlier. He placed the phone down, movements slow. He didn't speak immediately. The bank lobby outside suddenly felt intensely silent. Mr. Vance, Sterling swallowed hard, his voice now deferential. My apologies. My immediate supervisor is sending someone down. Elias simply nodded. He waited 5 minutes. The tension was suffocating. Then the door opened, and a woman, clearly an executive, sharp suit, high-level badge, rushed in, fixing her attention entirely on Elias. This was Maria Santos, head of corporate due diligence, reporting directly to the CEO. She had not come to mediate a difficult client. She had come to manage an institutional catastrophe. She ignored Sterling entirely, walking straight to Elias. She didn't shake his hand right away. Instead, She performed a small professional bow of acknowledgement, a gesture reserved for high-level partners or auditors. Dr. Vance, she said, her voice tight with urgency and regret, I am profoundly sorry. This interaction never should have occurred. I have been informed of the circumstances, and I want to assure you that Mr. Sterling will be immediately suspended pending a full internal investigation into his compliance and anti-discrimination training record. Sterling looked aghast. Suspended? Maria, what is going on? This is just an account application. Maria turned to Sterling, her expression cold and absolute. No, Mr. Sterling, this was not an account application. This was the final cultural review requested by the principal of the acquiring entity. Dr. Elias Vance is the founder and CEO of Obsidian Development Group. He is here today, personally, to approve our internal ethics standards before signing the master agreement that would place the entire funding portfolio for the Southwestern Infrastructure Project, a $900 million contract with this institution. The bias that costs one Beduio became a harsh immediate reality. Sterling had mistaken the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar entity for a troublesome small business owner based purely on prejudice. He had treated the person who held their future contract in his hands with contempt. Maria turned back to Elias, addressing him as Dr. Vance. We understood your visit today was for a routine account opening, but we failed to recognize that you were personally conducting a mandatory pre-contractual due diligence check on our frontline customer service and compliance adherence. That compliance manual you cited, 7.4b, you helped author the core principles behind it for the industry task force 5 years ago, didn't you, Doctor? Elias smiled faintly, the first genuine expression of relief he had shown. Hidden talent closes the deal. Or, in this case, competence ensures dignity and accountability. Indeed, I did, Ms. Santos, Elias confirmed. I find that policy is often the clearest measure of institutional sincerity. The fact that an executive officer felt comfortable overriding published compliance policy with undocumented prejudice suggests a systemic failure of training and accountability within this branch. The consequence was swift and devastating. Maria Santos didn't offer excuses. She offered resolution. You are correct, Doctor. We have failed this audit. Effective immediately, Mr. Sterling is terminated for cause involving gross procedural misconduct and discrimination. Furthermore, the $900 million portfolio contract is now officially paused. We will institute a mandatory third-party audit of our entire branch executive training curriculum, and we will issue a formal, signed public apology detailing this incident and the steps taken within 48 hours. Only when your firm's designated external counsel verifies the systemic fixes will we be permitted to rebid for the contract. I understand if you choose to move the portfolio to our competitors, but know this, we will do the work to fix the root cause, regardless. That is how justice happens, not just the firing of one bad actor, but the systemic fix. It means an apology that lands with weight, a contract withdrawn that costs them heavily, and a mandate for change that affects everyone below the C-suite. It was a victory of professionalism, documentation, and the quiet power of knowing the rules better than the person trying to enforce their bias. Big deal, bigger dignity. This story shows us the power of leveraging competence over anger. It's about ensuring that when they try to make you invisible, you reveal the full, undeniable weight of your authority, your merit, and your documented case. Allies in the room change outcomes. Remember that Maria Santos, initially called in to clean up a mess, immediately pivoted to allyship the moment she recognized Elias's true status and leverage. She prioritized the integrity of the firm over protecting a colleague. Your allies might be the policy itself, the compliance officer, the witness who hits record, or the executive who understands that prejudice is financially toxic. Safety, first, your priority. Before escalation, always respect your limits. Always avoid physical confrontation. If you feel physically threatened, your first and only priority is to leave the space and seek help immediately. Police, security, or a safe third-party location. Document the incident. After, you are safe. Laws and policies vary by jurisdiction. Adapt your strategy, but never compromise your personal safety for a confrontation. Escalation is documentation and proper channeling, not a shouting match. The challenge. Start today. You have the tools right now to prepare for the next time bias tries to hold you back. I challenge you to choose one action today and execute it within the next 10 minutes. 1. Select your policy shield. Identify one crucial piece of policy or law relevant to your daily life. Your company's HR policy on discrimination, local tenant protection codes, or FAA rules on non-discrimination at the gate. Save the section number or contact details on your phone's home screen. 2. Define your neutral phrase. Practice one calm neutral sentence for escalation, like Elias's. I would like a supervisor and a written copy of the policy section you are citing, please. Say it aloud. Own the tone. 3. Find your ally. Identify one person, a colleague, a friend, a compliance officer. You can text immediately if a situation arises. Someone who knows you are prepping to be a witness. Do your 10-minute justice prep now. Move from fear to agency. Move from indignation to documented, policy-driven action. Your competence is your shield. Your documentation is your weapon. Let me know one action you'll start today and tell me the next scenario you want us to script. Airline bias, police interaction, or academic discrimination. Let's build the roadmap to accountability together.